Yeah, Alex, the start of a new season come around pretty quickly. How have you found, I guess, the pre-season to another one?
Look, every pre-season at the start is pretty similar. You've got to build your base up, and I was fortunate enough to have a little bit of an extended break just to get my body right and spend some real quality time with family. And now look, we've had a lot of time to work on what Chiefy wants to implement, and we've been really enjoying it, and we can't wait to get started. The first game's in 2 weeks.
A tricky season for you personally, but also the team. As a squad, how have you guys as a team come back? And did you touch on last season at all, or has it sort of all been about this season?
Look, I think you can't dwell too much on the past. I think we know as individuals and as a group, a few of our shortcomings of last year and some of the struggles we went through. But look, we've made some really good signings that have brought a lot of character into the room, and we needed that. So look, we've bonded really well. We've worked really hard, and it's fresh ideas, which is always really good. And like I said, the boys are really, really confident and positive heading into the new season.
You've been involved in this group for a while. Successful campaigns, unsuccessful campaigns. What's the key? What do you need to get right in the few weeks leading up to that first game?
I think just making sure that you take every game in pre-season extremely professionally. I think consistencies are really, really important. Obviously, match minutes for us, especially against good opposition, it's really, really important for us to work on the things that we've been doing in pre-season and against good quality opposition. So, we've had 2 really good games the last 2 weeks. We've done really well. It's been positive, and now we've got one more heading into the game against Perth.
How do you assess expectations? What is the expectation, heading into another season for this group?
Oh, look, expectations, every year is to make, the top 6. I think, you then reassess it after a few weeks and, push for higher if you can, or make sure you keep maintaining that. But look, for us, it's about game by game, being consistent and making sure that we keep working on what we've been doing.
How much focus goes on those upcoming derbies against Auckland?
Look, I think the most important thing in football is the next game. If you're looking too far ahead, you can get sidetracked and your, concentration, can vary. But look, I think for us, the first thing is this game against Central Coast this weekend in Sydney, and then we'll look towards Perth, and then we'll address Auckland when it comes around.
And how's the vibe in the team, and how did that sort of compare towards the end of last season?
The vibe's good. Results weren't good last year, but we still had a close group. A lot of boys had been together for a long, long time. So, it's just a shame that a lot of the lads that left, we left in a negative way in terms of results. But look, we're still very close, and now that we've replaced those players, we're still a really close team. All the players that have come in have, added their own sort of flavour, and getting to know them has been really enjoyable.
Does this feel like one of the bigger seasons for you with World Cup to fight for next year?
I think again, I don't want to look too far ahead with the World Cup. I know it's extremely important, and national team is something I hold really close to my heart. But you get selected from national team from your club form, and so that's my goal, is to play well here and then get rewarded by playing for the national team.
And how important is it that the team starts well? Did you notice that in previous seasons that can sort of build momentum and create some positivity versus the other way around?
Yeah, I think, look, you always have to believe. You have to, like you said, start well. But I think as well, making sure that, even if we don't start well, just keeping the belief and keep doing what we have been doing throughout this whole pre-season. And I have every confidence and belief in this group that we're going to do well this year and then turn things around.
Did you ever play with Luke Tongue, and what's it like having an assistant that's younger than you, 3 years, I think?
I may have played, I think, a cup game a few years ago. He came on a trip, I think, with Western Sydney, and he was my roommate, so I had to look after him. So it's pretty interesting now that he's obviously involved with the coaching staff, but I also think it's cool, for someone like him who has been around the Phoenix as a player, and he's worked well and worked hard to, get where he is now. So, really happy for him, and looking forward to working with him.
How different is the tactical approach that Chiefy's encouraging you to play this year compared to last year?
I think we're much more front foot, much more aggressive, a lot more aggressiveness in the way we start, the way we play, and also the way we defend. Look, I don't want to give away too much, but I just think having a more front foot mentality and it's been really enjoyable. Every game we've played in pre-season, look, it's not been perfect, but it's been, good from the players in terms of the intent, and like I said, really, really good.
You've obviously been here, as Luke said, a long time, and you've seen a lot of players come in. What's the best way to integrate new players into, off the field, obviously, you have barbecues and stuff like that, but in terms of the playing system, what's the best way to integrate new players into on-field stuff?
Look, I think training first and foremost. When you train, making sure you build connections with the new players. Obviously, it's down to the coach with the players that he brings in to make sure they suit what he wants to do, and they've done that really well. And I think it's just down to us who have been here for a while and welcoming the new ones, making them feel comfortable in training, and making sure we work on connections and having a good relationship.
And interviewed a few players in the past who have become fathers during their career. You've now done that. They talk about a different sense of perspective. You get home and they don't care about the result, do they? Have you gained fresh perspective having become a dad?
Oh, 100%. It's probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. An extremely emotional time, especially after the first sort of 6 months that I had this year with, my body, my health, and, then you arrive, my daughter arrived and just felt like nothing else mattered. So yeah, it's an amazing feeling, and I just want to be the best dad possible.
Alex, I know last season you had a lot of injuries, a lot of people out for whatever reason. Because of that, the younger guys played probably more minutes than Chief would have expected. Do you get a sense that you are set to, reap the rewards of those this season, given they've had so much more playing time?
I think that is important. Whether or not they're ready, that's not for a player to decide. But I also think sometimes the best way to learn is by sinking or swimming. And a lot of those young players, were thrown into the deep end. And yes, results weren't positive for us, but I think in terms of that experience was extremely important. And now, like you've seen, we've had players go over the Under-20s World Cup, and that's been another great, experience for all those players. And a lot of the Phoenix players did really, really well. And, now it's about making sure that they carry that form here and, build consistency. So they're all really energetic. They all want to learn. And I'm looking forward to having them all back and making sure that we, hit the ground running.